Stay tuned and let's take a look at this DC Mafex Hush Superman. Pow, and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. Today we are taking a look at the DC Medicom Mafex Hush Superman. Now, I am going to refer to this guy as the Mafex Superman for the rest of the review. I am aware it's pronounced Mafex, but again, it's embedded in my brain as Mafex, so yeah, that's what I'll be calling it. But this could quite possibly be the best 1/12 scale version of Superman in our collections. That is the reason I've picked it up. Even though it cost a pretty penny, it is an import, of course. But again, for the best version of Superman, then it may be worth it. I've already picked up the Hush Batman, so that you sort of need the pair, let's be honest. The two iconic DC characters from a very nice storyline as well. This Hush storyline is definitely worth reading if you haven't. The accessories are very heavily intertwined with that storyline, and I'll try and explain that as we go through. But yeah, looking forward to opening this guy. You know me, I've wanted someone to do a 1/12 scale line of DC characters to go along with my Marvel Legends. I know they're different universes, but again, it's my display. I want them to mix and match. But McFarlane's figures seem to be scaling a little bit too big, so this seems to be the closest thing. So I will do some comparisons with Marvel Legends and whatnot as well as we go in. But here he is in the front of the packaging window box, where you see some of the accessories. Batman Hush on the side there, picture of the figure on the side, and again more pictures of the figure on the back, sort of showing off his accessories. And again, these are all about Poison Ivy, and I'll explain that as we go through. We get a picture of the Hush Batman as well, which of course I'll do a comparison because this guy comes with an accessory for that Batman. But yeah, we get some nice interchangeable heads as well for angry Clark Kent and not so angry Clark Kent, I guess. But yeah, looking good, looking forward to this one. So yeah, without further ado, let's get him open. Pow, so here we have Superman out of the box. So just my first impressions, this is obviously, undoubtedly, Superman. Now, you know me, when it comes to collecting these figures, I want my mind's eye version of these characters represented on plastic on the shelf. And this is undoubtedly Superman. A very iconic look with the blues and the reds and the trunks on the front and the S symbol, of course. And then even the cape with the S on the back as well. I love that the cape as well has got bendy wire in it, so you can manipulate the cape. So that's going to be very nice for getting him in some poses, because this guy does come with some accessories, including a flight stand. And I'll show you that in a minute. But I just wanted to sort of give you my first sort of look of this guy as I've just pulled him out of the box. So maybe the head's a little bit too small, or maybe he's just really broad up top. I don't mind it because obviously Superman's obviously superly, is that even a word? He's super strong, so he's obviously going to be very broad up top. So maybe that just makes his head seem a little bit smaller. So I don't hate that, but that was just something that caught my eye. But yeah, I love that the cape doesn't seem too long either. It comes just above the sort of shins here, just below the knee. And again, it's got bendy wire, which is going to help with posing and whatnot. Seems like the articulation is going to be in all the right places as well, and he seems to scale very nicely how I want. So let me just grab the tape measure, and of course I'll get into comparisons and all that as well in a minute. But standing next to the tape measure, you can see just under 6.5 inches. So he is going to scale nicely with some of our other figures in our collection. Now, he comes with lots of accessories as well. They're all nicely packaged here as well. I will get them out as we go through him. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of hands. We're getting a hand for the Batman Hush as well, sorry. And then those accessories that are all about Poison Ivy, as well as an interchangeable head and a flight stand that we always get with Mafex as well. So I will go through all those accessories separately right now. So let's zoom in and take a closer look and make sure I ain't got no QC issues or paint issues, because I've spent a lot of money on this guy. So taking a closer look at Superman, I do really like this head. I know some people prefer their Superman to be smiley and all happy-go-lucky. He's meant to be the shining light of superheroes. But I quite like this sort of serious, stern look on his face, ready for business, because let's be honest, Superman is as tough as they come, so he can take on anybody. He's got no fear, all that stuff. So yeah, I like this sort of serious look for my Superman, and I like the hair sculpt as well. I love that trademark curl that sort of comes over the forehead, and you can see it's a separate piece because you see the shadow there as it dangles over the forehead. So I like that. Not a massive fan of the blue wash that's on the hair, but I can forgive it. I guess it's part of their artistic choice for this line, so I don't hate it, but I preferred it just to be straight up black, I guess. But at least there is some sort of detail in there. But yeah, just overall really like this sort of stern looking face sculpt. And as I've mentioned, the head does seem a little bit too small, but it just makes him look stronger, I guess. The front of the body is like really broad. I like the S as well, very clean paint as well, no sloppiness. That S is very nice, again, where it meets the blue, and I love the blues and the reds. The contrast is very nice, and the cape sits nicely over. It's tucked in there into that piece, but again, you can sort of drape that over the shoulders and get him in a very nice pose. If we're spinning around on the back, there's a closer look of the S on the cape. And again, that looks nice as well. It's like ironed on. And this is a nice fabric as well. Sort of got a shine to it, a little glimmer to it. Not metallic, but that type of style, if you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's decent. Moving down, the trunks are a separate piece. That hides the articulation at the waist very nicely. Again, so the blue of the legs down to the red of the shins and the boots, of course. There is a little bit of sculpt in there for where the boot is, but no articulation or boot cut or nothing like that. But yeah, even the skin tone looks good. And again, because all the pieces are actually molded in a separate colour, there's no sort of sloppiness with paint or anything like that. As I said, only the S is separate, but again, it seems to look very nicely there. So yeah, let's quickly go over articulation just while we're here, because this guy's got some great range. So let me move the capes to the back there. Let me just lift that up as well so you can see it's just all blue. But yeah, I'll move the cape backwards, and now you can see it's got some great butterfly joints here. You can see there's a nice deep cut there as well, so you can get your Superman sort of swinging his arms up. Got to be very careful. Mine's straight out the box. You can hear it clicking, which I'm not sure if I like that sound or not, but the articulation is definitely there, people. Look at him, he's clapping. That's pretty good. And then that's going to be perfect for getting him in some flying poses as well. I'm worrying now. Should mine click as much as that? Let me know in the comments. A little bit worried. But look at that. You're going to be able to get him in a great flying pose with his cape, waving in the air. Whoosh, there he goes. That's pretty good. There's a ball joint at the waist and at the diaphragm as well, so you're going to get some nice movement, lots of range. And again, look at this for movement. Look at that. So he's standing straight and he can lean over that much. That's really good. And again, back pretty good as well. Down to the legs. We don't need Superman doing the splits, but that's pretty good as well, to be fair. Not bad at all. And the knees, move the cape out the way. The knees are pretty good. Don't need to kick in his own arse or anything like that, so that's a decent range. Down to the boots, no boot swivel, but there is a decent ankle pivot, of course, and then there's a toe joint as well. And the wrists move as well, as you would typical Mafex import. You can get them any way you want, manipulate them how you want. And as we've already seen, mine is clicking so much, I'm scared. As you've seen, the head's got some decent range as well, so goes back about that much, which I guess is okay, and then forward quite a lot as well, so we can hover and look down on his enemies. But yeah, so let's now we've seen the articulation, which is pretty good. I'm just a little bit concerned mine's clicking, but I want to go through his accessories. I'm all about those posing options, those display options for such an iconic character as Superman. So let's see what else we've got. And you know I'm not the go-to guy for posing figures, but you can get this guy in some nice poses so easily. Here we have a closer look at the second head sculpt. So again, it seems like the same hair and whatnot, just a different facial expression. His eyes are red, he's got the gritted teeth, he's not happy. This is when he's sort of possessed by Poison Ivy, and you also get the effect pieces to sort of demonstrate that in the box as well. So in the Hush storyline, Poison Ivy sort of manipulates Superman to fight Batman. So that is what these effect pieces are all about. So let's put these on and see what that does. So I've started putting these pieces on, but I wanted to show you how easy it was. You literally just pull off the wrist, and then you can slide these like plants over the wrist and then literally plug the hand back on, nice and easy. And now he's been all manipulated by Poison Ivy. So this is a very story-specific sort of accessory from when Poison Ivy manipulates Superman to fight Batman within the comics. So if you're a fan of the Hush storyline, you can literally pose up your Superman figure like a panel in the comics, which is always cool. But if you're like me and you just want an average Superman, then these come right off. This sort of neck piece is just a sort of separate rubbery sort of plant that you literally tuck under the neck, literally slide it around and tuck under his chin. And yeah, so nice and easy, but a nice little packing, very story specific accessory for your Superman. So as I mentioned, this guy comes with 5 sets of hands, which is always great for displaying options. Sometimes just the change of hands can express different emotions. So he comes packed with 2 fisted hands. We get a set of open palm flying hands, or waving hands, or doing the Macarena or Vogue dance hands, whatever you want to think. Every flying character should come with these. So yeah, these are very good. And if he wants to slap a bad guy, he can. We get a set of very expressive sort of open palm hands. So again, these express a bit of emotion. Maybe he's grabbing someone or he's going crazy or whatever, but still, this looks very good. Nice open palm hands. We get another set of open palm, but not as open, I guess. These are slightly smaller but still expressive in a way. And the last set of hands are like slightly clenched hands, if you will. Not exactly a fist. You can see there's a little gap there between the fingers and the thumb, but very close to it. His last accessory isn't an accessory for the Superman. Mafex like to do this occasionally. They reward you for buying more figures in the line and give you accessories with different figures packed in. So this is actually a hand for your blue Hush Batman. And you can see there, the ring is a kryptonite ring. So let's pull out the Batman and see if this works. So there you go, it works perfectly. If you have the Hush Batman, you now have a kryptonite ring for your Hush Batman, which is a very nice little pack-in. And yeah, very story specific again. So if you're a fan of this Hush comic story, then you're going to love these figures. Here we have our straight up Hush Superman and Batman comparison from Mafex, and these two honestly look great together. It's hard to argue that these two are not the best versions of Superman and Batman in 1/12 scale. Great articulation in their mind's eye, in their classic looks. Yeah, these two look great. I could still argue that maybe Superman's head's a little bit too small, but in the same breath, I could say that Bruce Wayne is wearing a cowl, so his head should be a little bit bigger. So I'm not really complaining. I still think these two look great. And once you've got them posed up and you've got maybe Superman flying, and yeah, on these two on display, you're not even going to notice those tiny things. Great articulation. You're going to get these two guys in any poses you want. Plenty of accessories as well. Yeah, these two are definitely going to find the center spot in my DC display. I just hope we get more characters. I know that we're getting Catwoman, we're getting Joker, they're giving us Hush. There are other characters in that Hush storyline, as I said, Poison Ivy, even Harley Quinn. So we shall see how deep Mafex go into this Hush storyline. But so far, straight out the gate, we've got these two and they look great. And I'm definitely think I'm going to end up getting the black Batman as well because, yeah, so good. Now, this is slightly embarrassing. Here we have our Mafex Superman compared to our McFarlane Superman. And it's crazy that when you put these two together, how terrible it makes the McFarlane one look. And I don't even hate the McFarlane one. Like, it's a fine Superman in plastic for a shelf. But when you compare it to the quality of this, it's night and day. Honestly, I know the scale's obviously way off. I just want a line to be 6-inch scale DC characters in their iconic looks. No gimmicks, no stupidness. Just so I can have them on an opposite shelf to my Marvel Legends and have the DC and Marvel worlds coexist. But no, it's not to be. But if Mafex weren't so expensive and they continued doing DC figures, then I'd be all in. But yeah, this is crazy. Crazy. And obviously this has got the cloth cape, so you can get them in nice poses. This has got that hard shell candy cape, and it's just not great. And limited hands, and just it's night and day, people. Night and day. If you want a 1/12 scale Superman for your display, it is no question the Mafex is the best one available. And just to show you I don't hate McFarlane, I actually quite like what they're doing, giving us all these alternative versions of Batman. Their bigger scale characters and figures are going to scale beautifully with the slightly smaller Mafex figures. So here we have the Mafex Superman, obviously, what we've been looking at all day, compared to the Devastator, which is obviously Batman taking the sort of doomsday serum so we can take on and kill Superman. And look at that for a display. Look at that for a setup. Those two scale beautifully together. So again, McFarlane, the bigger scale characters will work great with these smaller scale Mafex figures. And as we know, even Marvel Legends aren't true 1/12 scale. They're a little bit bigger, but this Superman can still sort of be fudged in to a sort of DC/Marvel mashup, as he only scales a tiny bit shorter. And once you've got it on a flight stand, you won't even be able to tell. So final thoughts, I am obviously very happy I bought this Superman figure. As a lot of people know, I'm a massive DC fan as well as Marvel. It's just no toy line has been very consistent. So I'm always looking for those perfect versions of those characters represented for my shelf. And this may be the best 1/12 scale version of Superman that we've ever had. Honestly, no complaints for me. The QC is fine. I've had no issues. There's a bit of clicking on the arm, but that just means it's tight and the joints are working. So yeah, for me, this is definitely the best Superman figure I own, and maybe the best Superman figure on the market. But of course, that is up to debate. It is, of course, everyone's opinions and choices. But I'm loving this Hush line we're getting from Mafex so far. Love the Batman, love the Superman, and it makes me curious and very tempted to spend some money and get the other ones as well. Because as I said, for the price point, we should get all of this. We should be getting the best version of these characters, because it is quite pricey for an action figure compared to other figures on the market. But you let me know what you think. As always, I ramble at the end of these videos, so if you're still watching, always curious to hear your thoughts in the comments below. But until then, people, you know what to do. Want to support the channel, want to help it grow, then do the one thing I ask is please hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much appreciated. If you're in a position to support the channel, you can do that on Patreon, links in the description below. But until next time, people, follow me on Instagram, it's Dan Who, and on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews, and I will of course see you on the next one.